Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, lawyer Ndegwa has ignited a political storm by linking the story of Jubaland forces and the election. I'd like to take you through some statements which Ndegwa has shared, and he shared these statements the moment he went for an interview at the K24 TV. Now, what you need to understand here is that the current debate is on why Kenya has allowed Jubaland forces to be in Mandera County. But then that is a discussion that is going on and on. I've also shared it in my previous analysis. But on this focus is why is Ndegwa linking whatever is happening in Mandera to the elections? Is this a plot by the current regime to deal with the election of 2027? To answer that, I'd like us to go into a statement that Njiiru has shared on his X. But first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, kindly support the work we do on this channel by liking this video and also subscribing to our channel. And thank you so much for those of you who've been supporting us by liking and subscribing. Now, let's delve into this tweet from Ndegwa. And he says, how Kasongo is scheming to use Jubaland military occupation to avoid the 2027 elections. Fellow Kenyans, we must remain vigilant and united in the face of the dangerous schemes unfolding before us. The deceitful and fearful Kasongo is once again playing a perilous game with our nation's sovereignty. The continued foreign military presence in Mandera is not a matter to be taken lightly. It is an occupation that threatens our independence and the very fabric of our democracy. Kasongo is desperate to avoid the upcoming general elections, fearing the will of the Kenyan people who are ready to reward him with a resounding one-term. His plan is clear: to prolong the foreign troops occupation, creating a pretext to manipulate parliament into declaring a state of war between Kenya and Jubaland by 2027. It should be remembered that Article 102.1, Chapter 1, provides that the term of parliament shall expire on the date of the elections. However, Article 102 2 and 3 allows Parliament to extend its term for a period not exceeding 12 months when Kenya is at war. Article 136(2)(a) provides that the election of president shall be held on the same day as the general election for the member of Parliament, being the second Tuesday of August every 5th year. If Parliament was to be bribed by Kasongo to extend its term on the basis that Kenya is at war with Jubaland, then the election for a member of Parliament would not take place, as a consequence of which the elections of a president would equally not take place, because the presidential election is pegged on the parliamentary elections, period. So that is what Ndegwa has shared. Now, of course, there are people who have reacted to this tweet. Some have reacted to it negatively. Some have reacted to it positively. But let's focus on what Ndegwa is telling us, that the government is deliberately allowing the occupation of the Jubaland forces so that come nearly 2027, there is a war between Kenya and Jubaland. And should that happen, it's not going to be easy to hold elections. So elections will be postponed. I mean, that is the mindset of Ndegwa. So I don't know how many of you agree with Ndegwa. Just go below in the comment section and you can tell us what you think about this statement. It is a very, very shocking statement from Ndegwa. Just tell us below in the comment section whether you agree with him on these sentiments. There are people who've reacted to these sentiments negatively. Some have reacted to it positively. So I will just sample few reactions on this. Let me just take you through atheists in Kenya society. They say, we will have an election in 2027 That's a fact. Musa says, let's say Musa says, lawyer mwenzako Abdel Nasir law continues to incite the masses against Kikuyus. Can he be disbarred? Okay. And then someone by the name Dennis says, shida yako ni kufikiria unajua kila kitu. You are not a blogger. Si lazima uongelee kila kitu in a trend ndio ukae relevant. Sometimes silence were wise. That's an advice. Pablo says, we are living in the prisons of our own creation, making us captives to our own identities. We live to fight another day, one time. Let me just take last two. And there's someone here by the name Kipruto says, Kenya should actually fight with Somaliland and Tanzania. It's important to test our military strength in the region. Baba Aden Israel says, oh, this is a bit, okay, let me just go through it because I said I was going to go through two last ones. So this is the last one. Baba Aden Israel, he says, nyinyi wa Kikuyu ndio mlileta this government. Shut up your mouth and let Ruto work for his 10 good years. How many times did Uhuru warn you people? You thought you know God more than anyone else. Allow me to rest there, but I can just take the last one. Let me just take the last one. Kibaki created Jubaland forces in 2012. William Samoei Ruto must maximize its use for his re-election. I end the reactions there, ladies and gentlemen. I think you've gotten something, some people's sentiments on this reaction from Ndegwa Njiiru. Remember, Ndegwa Njiiru is a person who at one particular time said that Matiang'i is a project of the government.
Matiang'i is a project. Yeah, thirikari.
What do you mean?
It's a state project.
Do you agree with him on that? He has surfaced again to say that the Jubaland forces are a plan by the government to create disharmony so that in 2027 elections cannot be held. Well, I don't know whether that's true, but we know that Ethacon recently launched a mass registration of voters. I think it's an ongoing registration, and it started on was it 2nd? If I'm not wrong, could have been on 2nd. I'm assuming it started on 2nd. So that registration is meant to make sure that many people are onboarded in the Iebc register as voters. So that is a sign that Erastus Ethacon is already planning for the elections that are going to take place in 2027. There has been a debate about whether elections should be held in 2027 or 2026. But that is a debate that is still ongoing. But based on the reality on the ground, elections going to be held in 2027. Maybe you can consider that could have been the reason why IEBC was delayed, so that election is not held in 2026 but 2027. So that is what is happening. So do you agree with Ndegwa Njiiru kwamba our militia kazi yao ni moja tu, kustop your election by creating violence ili parliamentarians kura za wabunge zisifanyike, ili kura za rais zisifanyike kwa sababu kutakuwa hakuna amani. So kwa sababu hakuna amani, uchaguzi hautafanyika. Just tell us below on the comment section. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed. Thank you once again for choosing YOLENO TV as your favorite political channel.